Welcome to the Tough Decisions Network for Entrepreneurs. I'm Dan Hanford, and my wife, Danae, and I interview successful people sharing stories behind tough decisions that they've had to make along their journey as an entrepreneur. Before we get started, let's hear from one of our sponsors. Have you ever thought about investing in real estate, but find yourself so busy that you don't have time for it? Do you have FOMO, which is the fear of missing out? At HanfordCapital.com, we help investors with passive real estate investments that project better returns than traditional investment vehicles such as the stock market. If you'd like to find out more about our passive real estate investments, visit HanfordCapital.com. That's HANDFORD Capital.com. We will jump on a call with you to discuss your investment goals and to see if our investments are a good fit for you. This advertisement is not to be construed as an offer or recommendation to buy or sell a security. Visit HanfordCapital.com.
With us today, we have Joe Winters, the founder of a nonprofit organization called Pave the Path. He's a motivational speaker and education and fitness consultant. Thank you, Joe, for joining us. And if you would, just fill in a little bit of the gaps there and tell us how you got into what you're doing today and what some of your major goals are as an entrepreneur.
Of course. Thank you for having me on your show, first off. Really what got me to where I am is I grew up underprivileged. I was an underprivileged student. I pretty much faced absolute poverty growing up. Lost my mom at a young age. My pops really wasn't around a lot. So it put me in a position where I had to always fend for myself. And I made a lot of dumb mistakes along the way. So that's what just motivates me to empower students through motivational speaking. And the fitness consulting, I grew up playing football my whole life, was a college athlete, and I actually ended my career with tearing my knee. I ruptured my patella tendon. And so I love giving back to young athletes and bringing them things that I learned at the college level, while also helping adults with mobility and things like that, because after hurting my knee, I've really realized how important stuff like that is. And so that's pretty much what got me here.
So tell us a little bit about your nonprofit here, the Pave the Path. What kind of things does this Pave the Path do, and what was it that kind of continues to keep that organization going?
So what Pave the Path does is we go into schools and we offer 5 workshops. And so we go into these schools where we're either doing college application workshops, financial aid application workshops, college admission awareness workshops, how to make a resume workshops, or professional dress workshops. It really was aimed for underprivileged kids who don't really have the resources or the leadership that's really telling them, like, hey, you got to do this, be able to go to college. Virtually someone like myself, I was a first generation, college grad. And so essentially people that's never been to college can't really tell me how to get to college. And so that's really the aim with Pave the Path when it comes to underprivileged kids. And as far as keeping it going, we're just in a phase now where we're trying to bring in, substantial donations so that way we can help fund kids going to college, as well as giving them the information and the means to go to college.
So you're creating this, college fund to be able to do scholarships, but you're also finding, underprivileged individuals that don't really know how to, fill out these applications and actually go through that process of actually getting into some of these colleges. And so you're trying to, kind of get them while they're in high school, I would assume, and trying to get them to learn how to actually, for one, stage themselves in that high school curriculum to be able to make better grades, to be able to qualify, to be able to get into some of these organizations, correct?
Yes. In a nutshell, that's exactly what we do.
Yeah. And so what are some of the tough decisions that you had along your way in your path creating that nonprofit organization? Because obviously, you're the type of person that if you want to do something, you're going to figure it out. So obviously, I'm sure nobody in your family had started a nonprofit before. And so you had to find other mentors and people that could kind of guide you along that path. And so I'm sure you had some tough decisions to make along that way. Can you share with us a couple of tough decisions that you had in creating that organization?
Yes. The very first tough decision was actually forming what I wanted based on my passion, as opposed to forming what I think other people would have wanted me to form. Like, yes, you have to make sure that you're tailoring what you're doing to your audience and the people you're trying to help. But overall, when I very first started putting together the nonprofit, so, before the paperwork, before, filling out any information, but literally just like the heart of what we're going to be doing and stuff like that, I kind of was all over the place. And so I had to make tough decisions. And I was blessed to have mentors that told me specifically, like, do exactly what you're trying to do, because we know where you're coming from and we know what you're trying to get out. And so that was the first one. But once I got over that, it's building a team. And I would say that because in a nonprofit, you don't, coming right out the back, you don't have the financial backing to really be able to pay, members what they're worth and stuff like that. And people don't, I'm not saying that people join things solely for money, but whenever you have a family to feed and people to take care of, obviously you have to be able to make your living. And so there were people that joined the nonprofit organization with the idea that, like, look, you don't have the funds. This is a great cause. I will make the time for this because a cause like this is something that's dear to me or directly connected to me. And then there were some that, they did join and it wasn't what they thought it would be because, of lack of funds or stuff like that when we first started out. So early on, I had to make decisions regarding my team that, I never really thought I would have had to make. And one of my mentors, Miss Bernice Monroe, she told me when I very first started my nonprofit before the paperwork, because the nonprofit started as a college organization at Lamar University first. That's what it was first before it was a nonprofit. And Miss Bernice Monroe told me, when I was first even building the organization, a lot of people that you think are leaders is about to disappoint you. And, after time, it did happen. So I would say that was, that's the biggest one. It's really just regarding the team, having the team that you want.
So were there people that were on your team that you had to make a tough decision to really kind of separate them from the organization?
Yes, but at first, the way that I would go about it was trying to, instead of separating them from the organization, just kind of reevaluate the roles and reevaluate how tasks are being distributed or, things like that of that nature. So that way it's still a fit for them. We can still use them to the best of their ability, but some just more so parted away from the organization, which was kind of like, tough. And there was a few people that I did kind of had to go ahead and let them go from the organization as well, just because of, I guess, the lack of motivation regarding what we were doing. Like, really great people, but sometimes people aren't really for, I guess, the cause of what you're doing. So they lack the motivation,
Do you have a lot of volunteers at this point?
We have a good number of volunteers in Fort Worth. We just actually relocated. So our corporate chapter is here in Fort Worth, but we were founded at Lamar University. So we have our college chapter, which is up to about 25 members at the time. Anything that we do in the Beaumont, Houston area, that's pretty much the chapter that we rely on. Here in Fort Worth, we've been down here for 6 months now. And so we've gotten a few volunteers, but we're at the moment continuing to build on the team.
And how many schools are you in now?
At this moment, we're in 5 schools. What we do is we try to get around to the schools as much as we can with the workshops, but more so we kind of play, at this point, a kind of like a big brother, big sister role. I don't know if you remember those organizations, the big brother, big sister organizations.
I'm familiar with them.
That's pretty much a role that we play right now.
And what are some of the tough decisions that you are facing right now in the organization?
At this very moment, I would have to say we're going into our second fiscal year, and virtually I don't really believe we have any tough decisions at this moment. We're stronger than we've ever been in the sense of identity. So we wholeheartedly understand who we are at this moment and what exactly it is we do. And so we've made sure that we're focused on that exactly. And so since it's a lot more it's less complex now for people in the organization, so it's a lot easier for us to really execute. Now, virtually, I just don't have any tough decisions at this very moment. We're in the summer. We
Sure.
have, kids are in the summer too right now. So that's pretty much where we're at in the year.
Where do you see this organization in the next 5 years?
I would hope that we have multiple chapters in universities. That's kind of what our thing is supposed to be. It's supposed to be college students going back to their local high schools and middle schools and educating underprivileged students or students that don't have the resources to, how to get to college and stuff like that. So if we can be in several colleges across the nation, especially within the next 5 years, that's something that would be phenomenal to me.
Well, and I think that in the next 5 years, you'll start to have people that have gone through your entire program and have now graduated college, and they can now start to give back their time to be able to help your organization, help people where they were, and they're in the same position that you are as the founder of the organization, but they're now able to join Pave the Path to help somebody else and pick them up out of poverty and get them to a point of being able to be a college graduate and, being able to perform at a higher level.
Most definitely. I agree.
Yeah. I think it's a great cause. It's a great opportunity for various things. So tell me a little bit about your motivational speaking. What made you go into motivational speaking, and what kind of things do you like to, events do you like to go to when you're speaking and stuff?
So as far as the motivational speaking, I like to go to all events, but I really do enjoy talking to students. So high school kids, and that's where the college kids come in, where I can go in and I can speak on mentality, fitness, emotional intelligence, exceptional work ethic, and things like that. Those are really the 4 things that got me into really wanting to speak to students and motivating them using my story, what I've been through, and then what I've learned through the education that I've gained to really pour into them and help them get to where they want to be a lot sooner with less regrets. Like people say all the time, don't live life with regrets. And I don't really want to say that I have regrets, but there are times looking back in my life where I wish I would have made the right decisions a lot sooner, because I would be further in life than what I am now. Mm-hmm. And so that's what really motivates me to go back to students and help them with their mentality and giving them the motivation. But virtually, I like to speak at conferences, events. I mean, anytime I get to speak and I get to add value to a community, I love doing so.
Well, I can tell that you're passionate about this organization and, the Pave the Path and, being able to, be a motivational speaker there for some students that are in the same position that you are, because you want to be able to help them get out of that path and be able to, change their trajectory in their life. And I think that's phenomenal. Share something that you like to do when facing a tough decision.
Work out. I love to work out. I love to, because when I go and work out, first it's the ability to not be imprisoned by the tough decision that I'm about to face. So it's just understanding, look, for this next hour and a half, that particular decision don't really matter. Let me just, express myself physically and, take my shower and then come together collectively and really just think over my decision. And if I feel uneasy about it, I like to take days. I don't really like to feel rushed in a decision. I feel like if a decision for me has to be rushed, sometimes, I just, it's kind of growing up in what we call the hood. Growing up in the hood, you have people that they love fast money. And fast money is usually drugs, and fast living and stuff like that. So I learned at a very young age that it is good to sometimes take your time. So I love to work out and take my time.
That's great. We've done several interviews now with the podcast, and no one has said that yet. That just to remove themselves and just go work out and exercise, and just like you said, have the ability to not be in prison with that tough decision, and that's very important.
Thank you.
What is a favorite book that you have read that has helped you make better decisions as an entrepreneur?
So, I've just recently started entrepreneurship officially within the last year and a half. And I can't say that I've actually finished one specific book, because when I am reading books, I'm reading the new Jim Crow. I'm reading The Success Upon You by Eric Thomas. And those are the 2 main books that I'm reading right now. But my biggest thing is trying to apply. So instead of, just going over the book and killing the book and reading the book in 7 days, I'm the type of person where I'd rather read 2 or 3 pages in 7 days and make sure I apply what I just read, especially if it's a success book or if it's like a steps book to success, or, you see all the different guru books from the people that went from 0 to 6 figures in entrepreneurship. And it's giving you the formula. And when I'm reading over these formulas, because that's really what I do like to study, I'm making sure that I'm breaking it down and I'm actually applying. instead of just killing the book because, application is the most important key.
Sure, absolutely. And you're a current student right now working on your master's degree, correct?
Yes, I actually start the program in August. So I'll be going to University of North Texas to receive my Master's of Education in Educational Leadership.
So even though you're kind of a young entrepreneur in this space, I mean, I think even founding that nonprofit organization is part of that entrepreneurial background and that entrepreneurial spirit, because you're starting an organization and it's still, I would say, entrepreneur in that realm, but definitely taking the time to be able to read the material and applying it is very important. But also as a student at the same time, it's hard to, read a lot and apply things as you want to be able to apply them. But I know that as you finish this educational career that you have right now, you'll be able to have more time to be able to digest into and divest your time into those types of opportunities and reading more.
Most definitely. That was very well put.
Yep. So tell me a little bit about, I mean, obviously you're new in this, background of as an entrepreneur in this new nonprofit, and you may not have been, you may not have made a ton of money up to this point, but it sounds to me like you're on a better path than your parents have been in the past, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So is there some exciting place that you have traveled that you wouldn't have been able to travel before, or some particular item that you have purchased up to this point with the money that you've made so far?
As far as traveling, not since I've been in entrepreneurship, I haven't taken one of those, trips that I just absolutely love. But before, I went to the best place I've ever been was up in the mountains in Colorado with YoungLife at Frontier Ranch, and virtually. And this is just me. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a place that I can go, even when I make the absolute most money I can possibly make, that would have a bigger impact on my heart than Frontier Ranch in Colorado.
That's saying a lot. That is saying a lot.
YoungLife is a very phenomenal nonprofit organization. And my YoungLife leader, Brian Leverett, was the guy who came into my life and respected me regardless of the situation I was in, regardless of any wisdom or education I might have had, and so being able to respect me for who I was mentally at the moment, helping me spiritually and showing me the time of my life in Colorado for a full week, which is, it's like 400 students there from across, the United States pretty much. It was a phenomenal time, and it was honestly like the blueprint for my life changing.
That's exciting. And so that's the YoungLife ministry, and they have a ranch out there in Colorado?
Yes, Frontier Ranch. It's in Buena Vista, Colorado.
Okay. And so what is one thing that is on your bucket list right now that as you continue this pursuit as an entrepreneur and you continue to have success, what is one item that's on your bucket list right now that you would say is your top item?
First thing comes to mind, travel to Italy, to Como, Italy. Actually, my first year of college, my very first friend in college was from Italy. His name was Alessio. And, he was a guy that he came over from Italy because he played basketball and he really wanted to try to go to the league, and they just don't really pay that much over there in the league. So he came over here because there's better opportunity, and, just more money in the NBA and stuff like that. And granted, he did make it to the NBA. He came over here with a dream, and he was actually chasing his dream. And he gave me insight on, just some of the mental struggles that people can have from Italy. And him being the first person that I've ever met in college, and us sharing the bond that we share from waking up at 5 a.m, both as college athletes working out together and stuff like that, and sharing like the stories of struggle that we had and stuff. I've always wanted to go to Italy to where I can speak there, to a community of people or a school of kids and help them mentally, and then also have a good time with my friend Alessio.
And how can the listeners reach out to you if they want to reach out to you for getting some more information about Pave the Path, or maybe even hiring you as a motivational speaker in their particular environment? What's one way some ways that their listeners can reach out to if they want to follow you or get some more information from you?
Yeah, sure. So the Pave the Path website is pavethepathforyouth.org. You can email me My email directly is jlwinters@gmail.com. I have a Pave the Path email as well, which is joewinters@pavethepathforyouth.org. Either one of those emails will work. You can also go to the website, and the business phone is 817-896-8954.
Well, Joe, we really do appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to be with us on the podcast today. You've shared a lot of good insights and good information, and I wish you the best with Pave the Path, and look forward to hearing your story as it continues to progress.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the Tough Decisions Network. Be sure to visit toughdecisions.net to gain access to show notes for this episode and to join our free weekly entrepreneur email, where we will send you news about the latest technology for your business, inspiring quotes, and the latest books for entrepreneurs. That's toughdecisions.net.